Hello everyone, welcome to my show. I'm the Empath and we're here with Mind Dump. So I've kind of got a lot to dump from my mind right now. Kinda want to tell you my life story. That's the kind of mood that I'm in. So, thing is, I've grown up my entire life and I've always been the nice guy. I always tried to follow the rules, to do what I was told, to do everything to the best of my ability and to make the most of everything. I've always tried to do that. Granted, when I was younger, maybe I wasn't as good as doing that, but that's because I was younger and I also wanted to play. So, and also I didn't know what all rules and things I could do and couldn't do, and there were some things that I wanted to figure out that getting away with. But you get the gist of it. Making friends was easy. I'd find people playing on the playground. I'd hang out with them for a bit. I'd say, hey, do you want to be friends? They said, sure. I made a friend. Now, if I kept that friend and we kept contact, that's a different story. But as far as being able to be friends with somebody, in that sense, easy. Easy peasy. No big deal. I'm going around and I can make friends. I can play. We can go over to each other's houses and play board games or video games, or we could play pretend. If it's in the winter, we can build snowmen and have snowball fights. If it's in summer, we can ride bikes. We had a hill that my house sat on, or trailer. We lived in a trailer park at the time, and it was fun to go riding bikes down that because, well, you'd get that extra bit of speed going down the hill, and it was great, and it was a fun time, hanging out with my friends and playing. And I went to Clear Creek, Amana, and my brother, he looked out for me. He's a great big brother. Things were great. Kindergarten was fantastic. My parents were amazing. My brother and I, we had a futon set at our trailer, and my brother and I would fight over cuddling up in the crook of my mom's legs, or as we would say, being children and being affectionate, we'd say, "Hey, can I cuddle your butt?" And it was fun. Just cuddle up in the crook of her legs and watch movies, or watch a bedtime movie, or just it was a great time. We'd watch things like Scooby Doo Alien Invaders or Scooby Doo Cyber Chase, or we'd watch SpongeBob or something on TV like Totally Spies, or we'd watch Page Master would be another one, or Chipmunk Adventure. You know, and every day seemed to go on forever. I mean, yes, there would be an inevitable end to the day, and you knew he had to come in when the streetlights came on. That's like you have to be inside by that time. You have to like immediately head home as soon as those things turn on. But as far as you know, a week went by, or a month went by, or a year went by, I never knew. I never knew when a week went by, not really, or a month, or certainly not a year. Time seemed endless. It took forever. It was great because I had all the time in the world to play, and it was great. The only thing that I had to measure time by in reality was TV shows. When this show came on, because this was before DVR, and streetlights. Those were my ways of measuring time. More or less, there was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I say more or less because those were arbitrary. They moved around to a certain degree. But TV shows, streetlights were the two main things that I measured time by. Anything else? I don't know. I couldn't measure time, so time seemed endless. And that was the first several years of my life, at least I can recall. I mean, there are a couple bits and pieces I can recall before then, like stuff with preschool, but whatever. Kindergarten was great. I was one of the people that I would try to color the image. Like our homework, our classwork sort of stuff was coloring, and I would try to color it as accurately and as well as I could. So it would frustrate me when other kids would have a better thing when their thing looked like you took it and you inverted the colors, and you get this really weird image that has inverted colors. But whatever, I had fun doing that. And there was recess, and we'd play outside, and we'd play kickball, or we'd play soccer, or we'd play tag, or on the swings, or on the jungle gym, or on anything in that playground. Jump rope, hopscotch. It was a great time. It was tons of fun. In fact, in kindergarten was when I had my first kiss because I liked a girl, and me being like 5-year-old me, I didn't know how to tell a girl I liked her. Like, and so I just went up to her during recess, and I gave her a peck. I think I kissed her on the lips, and she freaked out, and the teacher pulled me in from recess and explained to me why that was not an okay thing to do. Like, she wasn't mean about it or particularly stern, but she understood that I had feelings. I didn't know how to properly express those feelings. And so I did what I thought was proper to express those feelings. And so she informed me it was not proper. And so, yeah. And, of course, I was fine after that. And me and that girl, I don't even remember how much I saw of that girl after that or not. But any feelings or anything like that pretty much stopped there, which is understandable because I tried to express myself and she freaked out. And I got pulled in from recess by a teacher. So, yeah, that would have an effect on if I had any real feelings or not. Plus, I was 5. So, yeah. And first grade and second grade, my mom didn't like us being in Clear Creek because there were bullies. Max took the brunt of it, so I didn't really get very much of it. But he would get bullied by the kids on the bus in particular. And there were some of them that would mess with him in the neighborhood as well. And there were several times where he stood up for me in front of them. There were other times where he wasn't as nice. There was a point where we were throwing rocks at the side of a house. No idea why. We weren't trying to break anything. It was just that we threw them and they'd bounce off, and that amused us. You could get amusement from throwing rocks at a house and then bouncing off the side. One of them fell off, whacked me in the head. And it hurt. And I was bleeding. And it ruined a Mickey Mouse shirt that I had. I was mad at him for the longest while. But honestly, that wasn't really that big of a deal. I don't know how long I held on to that, but whatever. It's a whatever thing. It's just something that I remember because, well, you kind of remember having a big rock thrown at a house and it bouncing off and hitting you in the head, and you're bleeding down your shirt when you're all of 5 years old. So, anyway, Mom wanted us to be in a different school, something that would be better for, particularly the Max, but also myself. So she ended up, for a short time, moving him to Lucas Elementary. And that was great for him. It encouraged him. He was ahead of the curve because my mom would teach him things at home. And so he was bored in class. And there were times where he acted out and acted like Tarzan in class because, of course, Tarzan was around, so we liked Tarzan. And he got mocked for that. And it was a bad experience. He didn't have a good experience with the teachers at Clear Creek. Lucas, they encouraged his intelligence and making sure that the curriculum was geared towards him. But had to have him and I go at the same school, and there wasn't any room for me at Lucas. So we both went to Mark Twain. And Mark Twain Elementary I liked it. There was some sort of like special education program that I was put in, and what it came across to me as, like looking back at it, it, I've wondered about it, but what it came across to me as was something like a, you know, I don't know, like a higher learning sort of thing. But what we did mainly was like artistic type stuff. So I don't know if they thought that I was some kind of special, or if I had a kind of personality that I needed to be brought out of the class. Like I wasn't a bad kid, I don't think. I don't think that I acted out or anything, but I liked it. I had fun, and there was one thing in particular with the library. There was this thing. It was Magic Eye or something like that, and they were these documentary type videos about certain things like this kind of animal or that kind of animal, or this kind of uh, thing like furniture or something like. But I don't know what it was, but the way that it displayed them, the way that it showed it, it was entertaining to me. Like you wouldn't think a kid would be entertained by this weird documentary type thing, but just like it fascinated me. And I loved it. And I watched all of them. All of the ones that the library had to offer me, I ended up checking out all of them at one point or another and watching all of them at one point or another. And it was fun. I loved that you could do that. That you could check out this little movie documentary thing from the library. There was one where I checked out, it was on magic tricks. I loved it. It was great. Maybe I'll show you one of the ones that I learned at one point. It's very simple. And there's also some card tricks that I know. But anyway, Mark Twain was fun. There was also a thing called Tiger Pride. Basically, you did something really good that was noteworthy, and I think it was a teacher that had to give you a good mark on it. She'd write you a Tiger Pride, and then at the end of the week, they'd call the people who got Tiger Pride cards, and if your name got drawn, then you got like I don't know, some kind of prize. I think everybody got like a dum dum, but then you got something else for being the person who got drawn, or something. I don't know. It was fun, and it was a great way to encourage behaving well. And I tried to behave my best every single week, so I could get at least one, if not more, Tiger Prides, so I could get more of a chance of winning the little raffle type thing. And it was great. It was fun, and I also remember the playground was great. The people that I knew there, the friends that I made, were great. And there was a point where for like Earth Day type stuff, we did gardening things, and there was we also made these little tile type things like what you might set in a garden, kind of like a foot thing, except it was much smaller, so it might have been just more of like a decoration thing. But I remember making those, and there was one that I made that was kind of like a target, well like no like a crosshairs. Um, there was one that I think was just a fun design, maybe. But I remember trying to make one with all these little tiles and such. I tried to make one that was a Mario, one that was a Luigi, and one that was a Bowser, because of course I liked Mario. There was Mario Kart and such, and Mario and the Six Golden Coins, and so yeah. And I probably still have them somewhere. Maybe I'll bring them out at some point. They're kind of sitting in my nostalgia box, I think. Um, so it was great. It was tons of fun. So I did first grade. It was great. I did second grade. Another thing, snack time and story time. I loved story time. And heck, I've got good memories of kindergarten with story time and going over the day of the week, and the line leader and the different helpers, the door holder, the different positions that they gave so that you could have something to do and you could be productive. And like because you were one of the people who got assigned these positions, like it wasn't like oh, you're assigned this, you have to do it. It was a prestigious thing. You were this person who was in charge of this thing. Like you led the line. You were the leader. It was great. Everybody followed you. It was great. And there were certain things that were similar with first grade and second grade as well. And story time was fantastic. I had not as long of hair as I have now, but like kind of like long for a young boy. Long hair for a young boy. And story time would come around, and there would be girls who would sit behind me and play with my hair. Like I didn't have really any thoughts of like romantic sort of stuff, but just And like girls and guys, some guys with long hair, you know what I'm talking about on this. I had these girls sitting behind me, and they were playing with my hair during story time. I was sitting there, old 6-year-old, 7-year-old me, being told a story and having my hair played with. The best feeling in the world. It was amazing. It was heavenly, and I loved it. And there'd be snack time. And we'd get snacks like pretzels and bananas. I wasn't a fan of bananas. Sometimes what we'd get in snack, I wasn't a fan of part of it. But I would put all of the snack stuff together. Like, I did this all the time. And, like, nobody else did. And so I felt weird, but, like, cool and innovative for doing it. But I would take the snacks and, like, put them together. Like, eat them together. So, like, not just eat, just the pretzels and just the M&Ms and just the banana. Like, put them all together. Make them one solitary thing and get that mixture and combination of flavors. It was great. I ended up having some really great snack times because I would combine things and it would give me this nice full flavor of all these things. It was fantastic. I've got great memories of that. I also remember reading things like Frog and Mr. Toad, I think is what it was called. You know what I'm talking about. It's just I don't remember. I remember it's Mr. Toad. I think it was just Frog and Mr. Toad. Whatever. Anyway, it was great. It was a great time. So then, third grade, we moved in with my aunt in Hiawatha. We were living in Iowa. In Western Hills was the trailer park. Around Coralville, and we moved to Hiawatha. We still had our trailer, but we moved in with with my aunt Lori, and her. For a while she was with a guy named Chuck, and I have memories of that too, of him working at the fireplace and us going. And I used to be a big fan of firemen and fire trucks. I had a book about this kid who had a dream about becoming like the fire truck version of a centaur. It was weird, but like it was adorable to me, and I liked it. But it was fun to go and hang out inside of the fire trucks and see the inside of the firehouse. It was a great time, and like the little get together, like the chili get together sort of stuff that they do. It was great. The chili was fantastic. And also Chuck was pretty great too, at least for hanging out with. He was, found out later on that he was kind of a jerk at times to my aunt. But at least, I thought he was a cool guy at the time. And also I was introduced to a video game called, about Crow, which video game was interesting. That was one of my first, more combative games, it was like a third-person shooter sort of game. It was tons of fun. Dark, but fun. So anyway, so we're in Hiawatha with my aunt. I don't know if this was before or during or whatever, but she ends up with a guy named Victor, Mexican guy, and we're all living together. She's got a basement, and so my brother and I are staying down in the basement. My parents have a room somewhere up in the main house. And it was great. Nearby, there was a playground. There was also a splash pad nearby, and that was fun. The school, you just had to walk across the street. There was a library nearby within walking distance or bike riding distance. And you could go to the library and use your library card, and you could log into the computer there and just play games on the computer. It was great. It was a fun time. That's what I would do, is I would go to the library, and Max would go too sometimes. Sorry, everybody knows. And I would play games on the computer. It was great. It was tons of fun. And, we weren't the only people who did, of course. We saw other people do it, and that's how we got the idea. But, yeah. And they also had 3 dogs. There was, I think it was Sadie was the wiener dog. And then there was Penny and Pepper. Pepper ended up getting out at one point and running off. But she still had Penny and she still had Sadie. And they were adorable. Penny had a whip of a tail. And big, uh, chocolate lab, I think. Um, and then Sadie, just a little weird dog. I think she was a Dachshund, whatever it is. Anyway, um, but yeah, adorable, adorable, cuddly little puppy. Loved her so much. Um, so we were going there, and we did third grade, and that was where I got the main amount of multiplication and division sort of lessons. There'd be the time tests, and there'd be assigned amounts of reading. Like you have to do this much of reading on your own time of whatever, um, and you have to be able to summarize and talk about it and such or whatever. It was it was all right, and I was again placed in a sort of advanced education sort of programmed thingy, special education. I don't even know. Um, and in there we had to do uh, bibliographies and autobiographies. So that definitely made me feel like I was in a higher tier learning type thing, whether I was or whether it was a these are the disruptive kids, or I don't even know. I don't know what the criteria was for me being in there, but I made it, and I think it was for smart kids. I don't know. I don't know at this point because now I know about things that people do to mislead and direct and manipulate. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so yeah, that was fun, and that's how I found out that my name, with the way it's spelled, was Irish. Um, and some of my heritage that I'm like Scots Irish, and then I've also got like a little bit of this and that and stuff from background and ancestry. Like I think I've got some Dutch. Some, I don't even know. But that was third grade, and there was also the playground was fun. The playground was great for recess. There was also track and field type stuff that we did at one point. Gym, gym was fantastic. There was I haven't even been talking about gym. I don't remember too much from Mark Twain, but I remember in Clear Creek, the gym. You remember the little scooters, the little floor scooters where they got the handles on either side, and you can kind of just like push yourself around on it. Like, uh, I loved those. Those were great. And I remember at one point there was like, I don't know if this was supposed to be a dream or what, because it's been so long. It wasn't that way when I went back. But there was, I remember for Halloween in the gym, there was like an obstacle course type thing that they'd set up. And it was great. It was so much fun. And like it involved the scooters and they made a tunnel and like it was great. It was fantastic. There was also something that we did in the chorus part of things called the patutita. It's been so long, like I've forgotten all the steps. I should look it up at some point. And then in the music class, there would be birthday spankings, and like she'd like whap you on the butt with a guitar for however old you are. Like not hard, like of course just being silly, but it was cute and it was fun, and you always wanted it to be your turn, your birthday, so that you could get all the attention. And then there was art, which was fun because you could draw things and make things with clay. And there was library day. There were library days, and you could go and get books and read them. And it was great. I'd read Dr. Seuss. It was awesome. And with Hiawatha, uh, I remember there was chorus. There was a thing that we did where oh, it's been so long. Um, but it was like a when I grow up sort of thing. Like it was all about what kind of job or thing you want to be when you grow up. My thing was a plumber. Um, and I think we got us costume we got costumes, and I even had a plunger that I got that I had on stage with me, and I think I had a wrench. Um, but I definitely had a plunger. And I remember the only part of it that I remember. There are two parts that I remember. Um, there was my one little thing where it's like, "Do you need help with your pipes?" And like we're like supposed to stick our plunger in the ground and have it be suction, and then we have to pull up on it and like fall backwards ish. Um, and Like it was me and two other of the kids, and I remember that one part is, do you need help with your pipes? And that was exactly how it went. I still remember that part after all these years. Whew. Um, and then there was one kid. There's one kid. It was great. This one kid is like, I want to be a bum, and he's dressed up like a bum. And it was funny because this one kid just like through in certain parts of the song he's like, I want to be a bum, and we're all supposed to kind of look at him like, really, dude, really, you want to be a homeless guy, seriously, dude? And it was great. It was fun, and I loved that concert. I wish we had a video of that. If we have a video of that, I want to watch that. I also want to watch me doing the patootie top. Because I remember that being tons of fun. And it's probably the most adorable thing. And I'm getting flooded with other memories, but I'm not going to go on too much about those. So, anyway, in gym for third grade, there was one of the units that we did was cup stacking. I loved it. I was pretty good at it. Um, it was tons of fun, especially with like the glow in the dark cup stacking. That was just nifty. There were also roller skating days. Loved roller skating days. It was fantastic. I loved roller skating. There was a place that we would go to roller skate that I'm going to bring up now. It was called Super Skate. And we'd go there and, rent skates. There was also a little concessions thing that, my brother and I would sometimes, like, we could use our tour money to get stuff. Or parents would give us, like, nachos or stuff. It was great. You also get root beer. And there were also prizes that you could get for things, or something like that. There'd be games that sometimes they do with roller skating. So me personally, I liked rolling around the ring as fast as I could. I loved going just as fast as I could. It was great. It made me feel like like the Flash or something. But there would also be games. There was a four corners. So just, you skate over to a corner. They'd roll this big fluffy die, or it might have been, they might have also thrown in like the sides or something like that. I don't even remember. But then like if you were standing in the place where the die was rolled, so if you were standing in corner number 1 and they rolled a 1, then you were out. And you had to try to last all the way to the end. If you lasted to the end, you'd basically get a free drink sort of thing. There was also limbo. I was great at limbo because, of course, I was young. So going under that bar, how low can I go? I could go pretty low. And there was also limbo with the skating unit that we had in gym in third grade. And I loved it because I was great at it because I'm the perfect size. Another thing that I'll bring up, you remember the rainbow parachute. Everybody who had it in their childhood remembers it. The rainbow parachute, where you wave it around with everybody else, and like sometimes you throw a ball in the middle, or you put it over and you have cat and mouse. So you have one person in there inside of it who's supposed to be like I don't know if they're supposed to be the mouse, I guess, and the person on top is supposed to be the cat, and you're supposed to catch them. And it was great. Or maybe it was the other way around, that the person inside is supposed to catch the person on the outside. That would make a little bit more sense, I guess, challenge-wise. Or then you'd lift it all up, and then you all, like, tuck it underneath you, so you're all sitting inside this little air pocket with all the rainbow colors going around. And it was great. And it was tons of fun. And, of course, like, every year, at least once a year, we'd visit my grandparents who live in Virginia. And it was a great time. Play on the N64, play a little bit of pool, at least when I was old enough to that I could actually play pool. But mainly play on the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo itself, like play Duck Hunt, play on the N64, play with Legos or with any of the Transformers or any of the action figures that were there from my dad's childhood, him and his brothers. And it was great. And it was a fantastic fun time. And sometimes go to a place like the Virginia Living Museum. Or the Yorktown Battlefield, I guess, is one of them. I don't know. But it was great. It was a fun time. Or we'd go to New Hampshire, and we'd visit grandparents there, as well as aunts and Yeah, aunts. It wasn't uncles so much at the time. Well, there was Uncle Josh. He was around for he's been around for a while. Uncle Jay was later on. Excuse me. But they had a pool, and they had Josh had some systems. Julie was a big board game person, so we'd all play board games, and it was tons of fun. And then sometimes they'd take us places. Only not so good thing with some of all of that was anytime that I had a church experience, because never had a good church experience when I was younger. Not until I moved to, not until I moved here. Uh, so and it was great. And there's also the shebang, and we'd have all kinds of family from my mom's side come over, and all kinds of food buffet. It's a big potluck sort of thing, and it was tons of fun. And we'd make Krabby Patties, which are essentially they were just cookie hamburgers. You make them with vanilla wafers, with grasshopper cookies or Thin Mints, um, green dye coconut, a shredded coconut, and then red and yellow dyed frosting, and that would be your ketchup, your mustard, your salad, your burger, and your bun. And also sometimes, if we want to get real fancy, put some honey on one of the vanilla wafers and just sprinkle on some sesame seeds. And it was great. They were delicious, and we still do them. And it was tons of fun. And then figuring out where we're doing Christmas, whose place are we doing at? Are we doing it at the Nelsons? Are we doing it at the Griffins? Are we doing it at our place? Are we having people come down? Or sometimes we go to Tennessee and visit my, not for holidays necessarily, but just because sometimes we visit my dad's brother and his wife, which they were living in Tennessee at the time. And it was great. I remember a game called Claw. We'll have to look that up and try to get that at some point because I loved that game. It was great. It was tons of fun. I had dreams about it, actually. And they were actually pretty interesting dreams at times. Anyway, so it was fun. Visiting family was fun. And so, anyway, I left off at third grade. There's a girl I dated named Kelsey. I've got a bear that I've named after her. I I dated one other person before that. It was a girl named Caitlin. That was an interesting relationship. I was more kind of her manservant for most of the time. She'd tell me do this, or she'd go someplace and I'd follow her because that's the kind of person that I am. I fall in love with you, and I want to spend as much time with you as I can, and I want to do whatever I can to make you happy. I don't always succeed at that. Anyway, so another memory that I had from around third grade, living in Hiawatha, I'd go around to all these trashes and I would collect aluminum cans and I would collect plastic bottles and glass bottles. And here's the thing, at least in Iowa, we had these little receptacles where in like Walmart, where you put in cans or bottles and you get 5 cents per can or bottle. And so I figured, why don't I go ahead and search all these trashes? And that's a way for me to make money. And I did. There was also a point where I tried to sell some of the toys I had, like McDonald's toys and such. And I sold them for $1 a thing. And I think I sold like a few. Not very much, but a few. But the main way that I made money, I'd have bags of cans and bottles. And so I'd make, like, $5 a trip or so, which, a little kid, you're making $5-10. Yeah, you're rolling in it. And my brother and I would ride our bikes up to a nearby quick stop, a nearby convenience store sort of thing. And there were these Willy Wonka chocolate donuts. And of course, us being kids and thinking as we would, we thought maybe we could get a golden ticket and go to see the chocolate factory. Never did, but still. He and I, our fair share of chocolate-covered chocolate donuts. And that was a great memory, him and I sharing that. Max, another great memory, he also got me, I think this was at Mark Twain, he got me a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like over 200, just from dealings and such with his friends. It was great. He also got me Pokemon cards. He was a really great brother. Um, then in Hiawatha, he started being a little bit more his own person, making his own friends, having his own social group, and then pushed me to the side, and that's when the big sibling rivalry really started. Anyway, or at least that's how it appeared to me. So, oh, there were also like I'd crash birthday parties sometimes. There'd be birthday parties at like the pavilion, and I'd kind of ask if I could join, like oh so subtly, like oh so tentatively, taking my time because I don't want to be too intrusive, because I don't want to be told no, but like still, I'd like insert myself among things, and then I'd get to participate in festivities, and I'd get to enjoy cake for free, just because I was there. And I inserted myself. Like I was assertive about that. I'm just like, hey, you're having a party. Let me slide on in and kind of sit at the table with you and hang out with you guys and just like pretend like I was invited. And they won't know. They won't know that I live nearby and I joined in. So yeah, we were around for my aunt and now my uncle Victor to get married, or at least they got um, a justice of the peace type wedding, and it was just in front of the house, and we had a line of candles and bags, and my brother and I were like I think we were both the ring bearers, and it was a nice little ceremony. I think we still have it on tape somewhere. Maybe we don't, maybe they do. It was a fun celebration, and his family coming over, and our family coming over, and it was great. It was a party. We also did that for Thanksgiving. There was another place where I remember my aunt and Chuck living for a while, and it was a pretty nice place. And there was a place that I remember getting, and it was these little figurine guys. Like there was one that was pirates, and it was a pirate setup, and one that was fireman, it was a fireman setup. Oh my gosh, I remember a bunch of toys, but that was a great place. I remember playing solitaire, that being a big thing, or playing Spire Solitaire. I also remember the screensaver being these little bar things that are tracking all over the place. Um, and I remember getting my first bike. It was black. It was a Mongoose, I think it was, and it was great. It had training wheels. Wasn't until a few years later that I learned to ride just a two-wheeler by itself. And later I ended up getting a bike called a Rocket, and it was great. It was fun. It was patriotically designed. Um, I also remember riding a four-wheeler with Chuck. It was great. Also remembering a dude named Joe and riding in a four wheeler, not four wheeler, dune buggy. I don't know. Um, but yeah, sorry. I'm remembering my past. I'm getting flooded with thoughts and with memories, and I'm enjoying getting lost in them. I'm sorry about that. By the way, if you don't care, then go ahead, just click out of this and go to the next video. If you don't care, I'm not even gonna blame you. Again, this is a mind dump. I am dumping my mind. I warned you at the beginning that I'm basically giving you my life story. Oh boy. So I think that just about covers third grade. Aunt and uncle ended up moving out. There's at one point I tried to learn Spanish, and they'd label Spanish on things. Wasn't really good at. Anyway, moving on. So they moved out, and we moved back to our place. And my brother and I, we went back to going to school at Clear Creek, Amana. Him in middle school, me in the elementary school. And there were a lot of things different than how I remembered them. Also, I was in a building that was outside as my main classroom. My teacher was Miss Phillips, and I wasn't good at history, or social studies, or whatever you want to call it at the time. And there was one point, one significant thing that I remember was there was one point where, for some reason, while we were like testing or something or studying, I found something incredibly funny. I had no idea what it was. It wasn't even something that I found funny. I just started laughing uncontrollably, and I fell backwards and I hit my head on a desk and I fell on the ground, and everyone was staring at me because I was laughing, and suddenly I hit my head and was falling on the ground, and I started laughing again. A few minutes later, I died down, got back up, everything went back to how it was. And meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they probably think I'm crazy now. Oh well, it is what it is. It happened. Wish I could be that way about other things. Gosh, you don't even know what I'm going through. I'm trying to work up to it. All right. Tell you what, because I've got several mind dumps that I have to do, and this one I already know is going to take forever for freaking Handbrake to render out. I'm going to stop it there. Thank you for watching. Like and favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe to become a VIP today. If you want to see more, I'm going to do more right after this. And I don't know when it'll be uploaded because Handbrake is going to take forever on this one alone. So, yeah. All of that being said, I will see you all next time.